Commercial capital. This is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reported tonight.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Supreme Court of Nigeria gives final judgment on the Anambra governorship contest, affirms Willie Obiano as duly elected governor by the people. Injured South Africans from the synagogue building collapse return home, get medical support. Private schools across the country resume as students in public schools to resume October the 8th. And a French national has been kidnapped while on holiday in Algeria.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation calls for better risk management among financial market operators. While on sports news, Ghana ends Nigeria's unbeaten run at the Africa Cricket T20 Division 2 Championship, winning by 3 wickets.
The wait is over and all agitation regarding the Anambra governorship seat has now been put to rest, as the Supreme Court of Nigeria today ruled that the Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano remains the duly elected governor of the state. The All Progressive Congress candidate, Senator Chris Ngige, and his PDP counterpart, Comrade Tony Nwoye, had asked the court to upturn the mandate on the ground that Mr. Obiano allegedly engaged in double registration and won an election clearly riddled with malpractices. But the Supreme Court sitting in Abuja dismissed the appeal and confirmed the result of the election. Before the judgment, the Supreme Court had dismissed the appeal brought before it by the factional governorship aspirant of APGA, seeking to be declared the party's rightful candidate for the election. What you can see there is the celebration that greeted the validation of the governor's election. Supporters of Governor Willie Obiano and some of his appointees celebrating at the Government House, Oka. And you can also see the governor himself carrying one of his sons. He could not hold back his joy as he used the occasion to seek the support of his opponents in developing the state.
To God be the glory. It's not been easy. This is a victory for everybody in Anambra State, a victory for the people that wish Anambra well all over the world. This victory only strengthens the resolve to serve in the Anambra, and they will see it in our action. Myself and my team are very determined to move Anambra to the next level. It's an opportunity to call on my colleagues on the other side who went to court and lost to join me in building Anambra. It's a victory for everybody. The Jude and the glory has arrived. The day of glory has arisen.
From politics to legal matters, and legal practitioners have been advised to treat members of the bar and bench with respect. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Mohammed Adoke, gave the charge at a ceremony to mark the beginning of the 2014-2015 legal year and the swearing-in of new senior advocates of Nigeria. Mr. Adoke said senior lawyers are in the habit of writing frivolous petitions in a bid to scare judges. He said a timid and fearful judiciary, comprising judges who are on edge for fear of being victimized, cannot be good for the system.
Legal practitioners from the different parts of the country, their families and loved ones gather for the commencement of the 2014-2015 legal year and the swearing-in of newly appointed senior advocates of Nigeria. 17 of the new silks were sworn in shortly after the arrival of the panel of the Supreme Court judges.
For whom the rank of senior advocate of Nigeria has
And then it was time for the speeches. Of utmost importance to the leadership of the judiciary is the rising cases of indiscipline amongst lawyers and disrespect for judges by senior lawyers.
This is indeed a sad reflection on our profession, as some of our colleagues, especially senior counsels, are in the habit of publicly impugning judges on very flimsy issues in order to irradiate their clients. This unwholesome practice has unwittingly contributed to the intimidation of judges and stultification of our jurisprudence.
As lawyers play an important role during elections, legal practitioners were advised to play by the rules guiding the profession as they engage in the cases that may come up as a result of the elections.
And all election matters must be filed in the courts of the states where the elections in any form took place. We call on all our members to abide strictly by judicial rules, as forum shopping is a form of judicial tampering and constitutes professional misconduct. The NBA is ready to deal decisively with any of its members, and we hope that the judiciary is ready and willing to do the same. It must never be business as usual.
The newly appointed senior advocates of Nigeria were advised to uphold the integrity and discipline of the bar, as any form of misconduct will have consequences.
Because of your significant role in society, our profession demands high ethical standards and a commitment above all to justice, integrity, and the rule of law.
The new legal year presents both the bar and the bench another opportunity to improve on the dispensation of justice in the country. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
Also today, the Lagos State Judiciary held its 2014-2015 legal year ceremony with simultaneous services at the church and the mosque. The Cathedral Church in Marina, Lagos, that's on Lagos Island, received the Chief Judge and other judges and magistrates. It also received lawyers and guests who came to celebrate with the judiciary. The clergy advised the judiciary to always seek divine wisdom from God in the discharge of their duties. It was a similar scene at the Central Mosque, also on Lagos Island, where judges, magistrates and guests of the Muslim faith also held a Thanksgiving service. The state government, through its Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Ade Ikpaye, appealed to judicial workers in the state to shelve their proposed strike, as financial autonomy for the sector is not yet feasible. He, however, gave the judicial workers the assurance that the state government was not opposed to the financial autonomy of the state judiciary. The legal year celebrations ended with a colourful parade and inspection of guards by the Chief Judge of the state. Well, in not so joyous events, a High Court sitting in Ado-Ekiti, the Ekiti state capital, was today disrupted by suspected thugs who were said to have stormed the courtroom during a ruling. Eyewitness reports reveal that the judge was rushed out, although unhurt, but some of the plaintiffs now lie injured at a hospital in the state capital. A group of professionals known as the E11 has since approached the High Court sitting in Ado-Ekiti, seeking to compel the new governor-elect Ayo Fayose to explain the circumstances surrounding his impeachment in 2006. The state government has therefore convened a security meeting to investigate the violence to forestall a similar occurrence in the future. Away from legal matters now, 25 of the 26 injured South Africans in the Synagogue Church of All Nations building collapse have been airlifted home for continued Medicare. Leading an inter-ministerial task team on the disaster to receive the wounded in Pretoria, a minister in the presidency, Mr. Jeff Radebe, thanked the medical personnel involved in the operation as well as the Nigerian government for its efforts in the success of the operations. He says the South African government eagerly awaits the outcome of investigations into the disaster. Our South African correspondent Betty Dibia now reports.
The media was already camped outside the Swartkop Air Force Base by 5 a.m., but the flight wouldn't land till about 10:45. On hand to receive them was the inter-ministerial task team on the Lagos building collapse, headed by Minister Jeff Radebe, paramedics and the security services. The media wasn't allowed too close to protect the dignity and privacy of the victims. 26 of the wounded successfully evacuated from Lagos have landed here in Pretoria. Among them, 3 children, the youngest of whom is 18 months. Their parents didn't make it. From here, all the wounded will be moved over to the Steve Biko Academic Hospital, also here in Pretoria, for continued treatment.
I must add that there were only 25 who actually boarded the aircraft because one returned to the synagogue yesterday. Thank the Nigerian government for the cooperation that they've had with us in order to ensure that we execute this task as a matter of extreme urgency. We are keenly awaiting, as a South African government, the investigation that is being conducted by the Nigerian government so that we get at the bottom of the cause of the collapse of this building that has caused us this national disaster.
The long convoy of the emergency services made its way to the Steve Biko Academic Hospital, a few kilometers away, to waiting and very happy family members.
The most difficult part now, the phase that we're entering in with our assessment team in Lagos, is now to start the effort of repatriating the 84 South Africans who have been identified to be deceased in this tragedy.
It's been an emotional day here, and it will be even more so when the remains of the deceased come home. But these are some of the lucky ones. It's been a mixed bag of emotions, sentiments, speculations, and even outreach. And some of the people we spoke with have said that quite loud as well is the silence and invisibility of Nigerian officials, despite all their said efforts to assist in managing the crisis alongside the South African government authorities. All eyes and ears are open, awaiting the outcome of the various investigations into that building collapse. From the S.Court Air Force Base in Pretoria, South Africa, Betty Dibia, reporting for Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the casualty figure from the incident is fueling some anti-Nigerian sentiment in South Africa. Of the 86 fatalities, 84 are said to be South Africans. Unconfirmed reports say some Nigerians were attacked in the aftermath in the area on the outskirts of Johannesburg. But reacting to this, the South African National Police Commissioner told our correspondent that she's yet to receive such a report, but will investigate, as this is not a time to trade blame.
We haven't received those reports. As you say, they are unconfirmed. We would go back to go and check whether indeed there are such reports. But ordinarily in South Africa, you would know our stance as a government and as a police agency that is serving this government. Issues of xenophobia we deal with very, very closely. And I just want to make an appeal to fellow citizens, also to the citizens of Nigeria, to say, in a crisis like this, we need to work together and ensure that we reduce the finger-pointing exercise, because what is before us is a crisis.
In part 2, after the break, private schools reopen and students of public schools to resume October the 8th. That's in a moment. Do join us again.